In today's video, I want to talk about how you can best answer the interview question, tell me about a time you had to work with a difficult person. So without further ado, let's get started. The first thing you need to understand is why they're asking this question, and the reason is important because the last thing that a manager wants is to deal with bickering employees that do not get along. They keep on escalating problems to them, and they have to be the peace broker all the time, or the world police, or whatever. Basically, you get the idea. It's a lot of time and energy that the manager needs to spend to solve these people problems. So basically, this is one of those questions where the manager wants to know, do you have the ability to solve the problem by yourself? Do you escalate the issues to the manager? How much hand-holding is needed for the people side of things? So with that being said, there are several bases that you need to cover. Number one is, how do you manage conflicts? How do you communicate with others? Number two, how do you properly escalate if necessary? And the third one is, how do you find solutions to solve people problems? Which brings us to my second point, which is finding the right example. Based on these criteria that I just listed, you need to find the right example where you were able to work with a difficult person. The best thing to do is take the STAR format, situation, task, action, result, and use that as kind of the frame. I've talked about the STAR method in the past, check it out in the videos above. But essentially, you need to find a relevant example where you can really show how this person was difficult and what you did and what was the result and how that solved the issue. At the end of the day, there's really no way for people to know how others get along with one another, but at least being able to articulate the situation and how you solved it would put that manager's nerves at rest, because they would at least know, like, okay, at least you know what is the best practice. Whether you can actually do it or not, and that's something else, but at least you know what's the right thing to do. And so you need to demonstrate that. And in this case, it's not really what you say, but also how you say it, which brings me to my third point, is the delivery of it. Number one, you got to make sure you're not overly negative. You're not bad-mouthing that person. You're not casting blame. You are simply telling it in a matter-of-fact way. This is what happened. This was the situation. This is what made things difficult. And this is how we worked on resolving it. It is ideal if you also take some responsibility upon yourself by saying something along the lines of, I'm not perfect, I made some mistakes too that contributed to this situation being difficult. However, this is what I did to solve it, and we got everyone on the same page, and yada yada, right? Basically, by acknowledging you have some mistakes as well, that usually is seen as a plus. Of course, you don't want to go to the extent where you are casting doubt in your ability to work with other people, but owning a little bit of the responsibility is typically helpful because it shows that humility and it shows the ability to take responsibility. A few more things that you really want to highlight is the active listening skills. So in your example, if you're able to feed in some situation where you're communicating with that person and you withheld judgment and you just listened, that is typically a good sign because it shows that you have the very basic ability of understanding other people. If you're also able to demonstrate the second thing, which is empathy, that would be great too, because in any situation, if you're able to empathize with the individual who is being difficult and why they're being difficult, you are able to go deeper and solve the root cause of the issue, which is also a plus in the hiring manager's eyes. The third thing you want to show is the problem-solving ability. So not only is it about empathy and understanding people's emotions and having them feel validated and so on, you also want to solve the problem at its root cause so that it doesn't repeat again. You don't want to solve the symptom, you want to solve the root cause. So be sure to be able to tease out what was the root cause in this example and how you solved for it. The fourth and final thing is you want to communicate your professionalism. So you have to do it in a matter-of-fact way while balancing empathy, by balancing pragmatism, and making sure you strike that balance so that it's conveyed in a very positive light. Like I said before, steer clear of negativity. No one wants to deal with negativity, especially if they're talking with a handful of candidates. And if you're the one that's leaving negative energy, they will definitely remember it, and it's not a good sign. Because at the end of the day, they're not going to remember everything you're saying unless they're taking meticulous notes and recording the interview, but they're going to remember how you made them feel. So be sure to convey the emotion of positivity rather than negativity while answering this question. And the final thing I would recommend is practice, 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 because without good practice, you can have the best story, you can have the best example sorted out, but if you don't put in the reps to practice articulating it, it's not going to come across authentic and genuine, especially when it's a question that's dealing with people and emotions and how people can be difficult in the workplace. It's just a fact of the matter that people are complicated beings. So you want to make sure that you put in the right practice so that you can convey this clearly, succinctly, and to the point without a little bit of hiding or rambling, because the moment you start rambling and hiding and being vague, then it casts doubt in the veracity, the truthfulness of what you're trying to convey in the answer. And that's it. That's how you answer this question. Hope it was helpful. If you liked it, please give it a like, share, subscribe, follow wherever you are. If you have any thoughts about what I said, please let me know in the comments below. And I hope you have a good one.